Agnes and her husband Joe had been married for many years. Their marriage had seen many seasons, times of joy, tears, hope, and waiting. The only thing missing in their lives was a child. They had prayed, waited, and tried everything they could, but no child ever came. Yet, through it all, their love never faded. Now in their older age, when most couples grow cold or tired of each other, Agnes and Joe were still madly in love. They still held hands. They still laughed together. They still whispered sweet things into each other's ears. Anyone who saw them would think they just got married a few months ago. Their bond was that strong. But there was one thing, one deep, private thing, that always made Agnes smile to herself, especially when she was alone. It wasn't something she talked about with others. It wasn't about gifts or money. It was something only she truly valued and secretly enjoyed. It was the size of Joe's manliness. Yes, you read that right. Joe was unusually blessed as a man, and that alone brought Agnes a kind of personal joy that no one could understand. Even though she didn't have a child to call her own, Agnes found deep satisfaction in her husband's touch. Every time Joe held her in his arms, every time he showed her love in that special way only husbands and wives share, Agnes felt complete. There were nights when she would lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, and whisper to herself, "I may not have a child, but I have Joe. And what this man carries between his legs is more than enough to keep me happy for life." She would smile softly in the dark, feeling no shame in her thoughts. People may mock me, she often thought. They may say I failed as a wife because I didn't give him a child, but if only they knew what I enjoy in this house, if they knew how this man satisfies me, they would stop talking and start envying me. Agnes was never bitter toward anyone. She didn't carry anger in her heart. Instead, she was grateful for love, for health, and most of all, for Joe. Despite all the challenges they faced, Joe never gave up on her. He never blamed her for their childlessness. Instead, he poured his love on her daily, making her feel like the most special woman alive. And for that, Agnes never stopped loving him. Deeply, madly, and sincerely. Whenever Agnes stepped outside her house, the whispers would start. Women would gather in groups, pretending to be busy, but their eyes would follow her like arrows. Some would nudge each other and chuckle. Others didn't even try to hide their cruel words. "Look at that barren witch," one would say under her breath. "She's just an old hag walking around like she's still sweet 16, another would add. "I'm sure she's the one tying that poor man down," someone would sneer. How can a man stay all these years with a woman who can't give him a child? Some of the bold ones would even say it loud enough for Agnes to hear. She must have trapped his spirit in a bottle. That's why he won't leave her. She is the head witch in this village. That's why she walks around proudly even though she's useless as a woman. Some would burst into laughter. Others would shake their heads in pity. But a few did so with jealousy burning in their eyes. But Agnes never cried. She never shouted. She never gave them the satisfaction of seeing her broken. Instead, she would smile, sometimes even laugh softly, as she walked by. She would go to the market. She would walk past the gossiping women. She would buy what she needed, greet those who greeted her, and keep her head high. Because deep inside, Agnes had a secret joy, something those women would never understand. Their words meant nothing to her. Why? Because she had something they didn't have. Something they couldn't even imagine. Something that made her nights warm and her heart full. It was her husband Joe's manliness. No matter what anyone said about her barrenness, no matter how much they mocked her age, no matter how much they insulted her marriage, Agnes knew that what she shared with Joe in private was stronger than any public shame. While the women insulted her, Agnes would sometimes talk to herself with a peaceful smile. If only they knew, if only they felt what I feel every night, they would leave their own husbands and come begging for mine. She wasn't proud in a wicked way, she was just happy, genuinely happy. And the more they insulted her, the more it confirmed one thing: they were confused. They didn't understand why she wasn't bitter or sad, they didn't know why she didn't cry. She must truly be a witch, some of them would say. Only a witch can carry such pain without tears, others agreed. But it was no witchcraft. It was love. Real love. Deep, burning, satisfying love. The kind that many of them didn't have in their own homes. Because while they had children and rings and titles, Agnes had Joe's heart and his body completely, and that was more than enough for her. So every time she returned home, she walked into the arms of a man who loved her with his whole being. A man who never cared what others said. A man who never looked outside for comfort. A man who satisfied her deeply, completely, and endlessly. And as they sat together in the evening breeze, holding hands like teenagers, Agnes would close her eyes and whisper to herself, "Let them talk. Let them laugh. I know what I have, and what I have is more than enough." Whenever Agnes and her husband Joe finished sharing intimacy, something beautiful would always happen. Agnes would almost burst with joy. Her eyes would sparkle, her heart would beat fast, and she would begin to worship her husband like a queen worshiping her king. She would hold him close, kiss him gently, and whisper sweet names to him like, "My joy, my happiness, my everything, my sweet strength, my joy giver, my royal highness." Joe would smile quietly, sometimes wondering why his wife adored him this much after every intimate moment. He had no idea that Agnes wasn't just praising him. She was worshiping his manliness. That special part of him that brought her the kind of joy words could never fully explain. It was her secret, her sacred joy. But one dark day the unthinkable happened. Joe fell ill. At first it looked like a small fever, but within days his health dropped so fast that nothing could be done. And just like that, Joe died. The man Agnes had loved for years. The man who stood by her even when others mocked them for not having children. The man whose body, especially his manliness, had brought her a lifetime of satisfaction, was gone. When Agnes heard the news, she screamed so loud that people in the next compound rushed to her house. She fell to the ground, beating her chest, crying as if her soul wanted to follow her husband. "I will never see him again. I will never touch him again. I will never feel that thing that gives me joy again," she wailed. Some women held her. They thought she was crying because she had no child to inherit Joe's name. Others whispered, "She regrets not having a child. That's why the pain is deep." But they were wrong. Agnes was not crying for a child. She was mourning her husband's manliness. The very thing that gave her a reason to smile, even in a world that mocked her. And now that joy was gone forever. After Joe's burial, people tried to console her. Life moved on, but for Agnes, time stopped. One early morning, something strange happened. Agnes came out of their small hut with red eyes, holding a small bag of clay. She sat on the ground in front of the hut, and with quiet tears rolling down her cheeks, she molded the shape of her husband's manliness. Carefully, gently, with love. It wasn't just clay to her. It was a symbol of the love she lost. From that day on, every single morning, Agnes would come out of her house and sit before that sculpture. She would talk to it, sing for it, and sometimes just smile at it with tears in her eyes. To outsiders, it looked foolish. Some called her mad, some laughed behind her back. But Agnes didn't care. That clay gave her peace. It reminded her that once upon a time she was loved fiercely, held tightly, and satisfied completely. It became her daily joy, her secret comfort, and her holy shrine of memory. Until the day she took her last breath, Agnes never missed a single morning worship at the feet of that clay sculpture. Even on her last day, her neighbors found her asleep beside it, peaceful, quiet, and gone to join her love. Moral lessons from this story. 1. Real love is deeper than public opinion. Agnes and Joe were mocked, but their bond was unbreakable. 2. Fulfillment in life is not always in children or riches. Sometimes it's in genuine love and deep connection. 3. Never judge someone's tears. You don't know what they're really mourning. 4. The body fades, but true love leaves a mark that lasts forever. Thank you so much for watching this story to the end. Your support means everything. If this story touched your heart, please click the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so you never miss any of our powerful stories. We have more stories coming that will inspire, heal, and bless your life. God bless you. Please stick with us. You are more than a viewer. You are family.